Hello bass family, welcome to Everything Bass with Dale Titus. Today's topic, we're going to be covering intervals. And we're going to break the intervals between the root and the octave into 2 intervals per video. Because again, I don't want dilution. I want you to be able to focus on just 2 intervals, really understand them, ask questions below in the comment section, so that before you move on to the next one, you really understand the 2 intervals that I'm covering today. And what am I covering today? I'm covering simply an octave and the perfect fifth. So I guess I should back the card up and talk a little bit about what intervals are. Simply speaking, intervals are a distance. Distance from the tonic or the root to any other note. And that we call it an interval. Why is it important? I'm hoping that I can always answer the whys, because if I don't answer the whys, I don't think you're likely going to apply any of this information or retain it in the very least. So understanding intervals helps you learn scales better, helps you understand the arpeggios, what makes up different arpeggios. I found that understanding intervals helped me actually learn bass lines and memorize large repertoires of music quickly. So it's the building blocks of our melody and harmony. So if you can just trust me on this and practice them and learn them as I'm suggesting, I know that it'll make you a better bass player and it'll help you learn faster in the future. So first video, the octave. Some of you might already know this. It's one of the first most common intervals that bass players learn, even when they don't realize they're learning intervals. And an octave is, you can take any note. Now on a 4-string bass, it's real easy to find if you play any root on the E or the A string. And let me show you what I mean. I'm going to play this G, 3rd fret on the E string. Now if I want to find the octave, which is a G, but an octave higher in pitch, you can find it by going up 2 strings. Now you notice I'm saying up, but I'm heading down towards the earth. When I use the directions up and down, I'm referring to pitch. So I'm going higher, higher, and higher is up, and lower, lower, lower is down. So I play the root here, and I go up 2 strings and up 2 frets, and that is the octave. So if this is the root, that's the octave, and it's this kind of cool L shape. Now that's just one way to find the octaves. There's other octaves that I can show you. So that, luckily, the way most of us tune our basses, that's a repeatable, easy to remember pattern, because if I play on the A string, the C note, and I go up 2 strings and up 2 frets, I'll find C an octave higher. Now, some of you maybe who've been taking private lessons notice that I'm using the index finger and the pinky. And you might wonder why I'm not using the 1 finger per fret that some people teach. And I teach for certain reasons, like sight reading, I like using that. Certain scales, I like to use the 1 finger per fret. But as a live bassist who's played, 5 45-minute sets every night, it's a good chance to relax your hand, to just use your outside fingers, your index and your pinky. So to practice octaves, just simply move it around. Be able to play any root on the E or A string and find the octave. It should become something pretty simple to memorize and learn. It's also so used in so many different music styles and so many different songs. I'm not going to play them here because I don't want to get into any copyright infringements and have my video taken down. But it's just, if you can just accept it, that octaves are really important. And when you're slapping, octaves are great. So there's a lot you can do with octaves. So I would memorize how they sound in this position. Now I did tell you there's a couple other ways. Well, there's a lot of other ways to play octaves. This is the most convenient and easiest to memorize. And if you just stop there, and that's fine, you've got a good start. But I've noticed a lot in the years that a lot of bass players will play an open E, and they'll go to the 7th fret on the A string. That's an E also, so that's an octave. Now because of the way our bass is tuned, you can play an open A, and the 7th fret on the D string is an A. Those are octaves. The open D, the 7th fret on the G string, is a D. So those are octaves. So that's another way to kind of play octaves. I've even found in some of my slap licks, I'll put the root with my pinky on the E string, and I'll reach all the way across to the 2nd fret on the G string, and those are octaves. So it's a little more awkward, not as easy to play. but there came a time when it helped me to be able to move that octave there. So that's one of the intervals we're focusing on today. The other is the perfect fifth. The perfect fifth is its name, and it's the fifth note. One way to memorize it is the fifth note of the major scale. So if I was to play on C and I start playing the major scale, and I stop on the fifth note that I play, that's the perfect fifth. Now if we want to look at it like I did with the octave, it's like if you play the tonic or the root, you go up one string and go up 2 frets, and that's the perfect fifth. So that's a perfect fifth interval there. There's also, if you're not playing on your lowest strings, 5-string players, if you're playing on your B string, or if you're a 4-string player and you're playing on your E string, this isn't available to you on that string. But if you're playing the root on an A, D, or G string, the perfect fifth is also found right below. And that's really, if you look through different transcriptions of songs, you'll find a lot of bass players do play the fifth below, the fifth above. There's some cool lines that do both. So, perfect fifth and the octave, that's great stuff. And I should say, in common conversation with other musicians, we just call it the octave, but actually it's called the perfect octave when you study harmony theory. So I don't want there being any confusion there. So perfect octave, perfect fifth. Practicing them, just what I said about the octave. Move both the fifth and the octave all around the bass. And don't do it just like, just move it without thinking, what's my tonic, what's my root? And that's the note you start on. So like, don't just grab this 4th fret on the E string, figure out, okay, that's the A flat or G sharp, and now I can play a 5th, and here's the octave. 5th, octave. And do that, just every day pick a different letter in the music alphabet and try to find every octave and every fifth. And one thing I encourage you to do also is try to make some music with it. Try to create with it. And I know you might go, but it's just 2 notes. It's just the fifth and the octave, and there's not a lot of tension and stuff there. But, if you listen to some great old Geezer Butler bass lines and even some Geddy Lee passages where he just plays root 5 octave, there's a lot you can do with it. So experiment and get to really know what those 2 intervals are. Now, if you're a Patreon subscriber of Everything Bass with Dale Titus, you can actually download the PDF, which will give you additional information and something that you can actually print out and maybe put in a lesson binder at home so you can easily review it when you're away from your computer. Now, today, my encore item for today is something that might seem strange, but it's a music stand. I know that sometimes it's hard to get motivated to practice. And one thing that demotivates you is if you don't have a good place to put up anything you're working on, not just sheet music, but if you want to even put your iPad or your phone up so you can practice along with the videos. I started playing in the 80s and I didn't have a music stand, so I would pull a drawer out on my chest of drawers, put a record album leaned up, and that was my music stand. But it wasn't at the right height, so I ended up hunkered over, and sure enough, with the bass on, you got tired, got sore, and it just was demotivating. So I noticed once I got a music stand, could set it up where I was comfortable playing, I was more motivated to practice. I could practice longer without my shoulder and back hurting me. So today's encore item, music stand. Just go to your local music store, and there's a lot of different ones. I like the solid metal ones because in the summer, if I have a fan going on, it doesn't blow my music off. And it also supports a variety of things. Even if I just put a tuner up there, sometimes I'll take a pedal off my pedal board and put it up there so it's easier to adjust. And so the solid back is great. But if you're strapped for money or you don't have the space for a big black one, there's a bunch of different ones that are wireframe that collapse down to small mount. But I like having music stands. In fact, I have them kind of all over the house. So wherever I want to practice, there's a music stand. Saves my old back because I'm old, guys. So thank you for checking out this video. I encourage you please to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you'll always know what new videos I'm posting. And if you have any questions about the octave and the perfect fifth, please just mention it down in the comment section. If it's something you aren't comfortable posting there, just email me at dtitus@daletitus.com. And I also would love to encourage you, thank you so much for what you guys are doing to help grow this channel. You can support the channel by going to patreon.com, Everything Bass with Dale Titus. And not only does your subscription help me grow this whole community that I want to grow, it'll also allow you access to printed materials, audio files. I'll be putting up some specific things just for subscribers. There's also, I'm in the works to planning a live masterclass where I'll actually answer questions and I'll demonstrate and get a little deeper into some topics than I do in the normal short videos that I post here. So thanks so much. Practice your octaves and fifths and you'll be a better bass player. Thanks so much.